Oh, mate, I totally agree with you. And I feel that's why I work with a lot with Alan Caswell. And
of course.
I've got so much respect for somebody like Alan because he's been there, he's done that. He gets this industry in and out. He knows he's been there, he knows it.
You can smell it, yeah.
100%. So to work with someone like him, I feel like for me it's really important to not use him, but to kind of soak in everything that he throws your way.
He's a wealth of knowledge and experience.
I just, I'm in awe of what somebody like him can do. So a lot of respect for him, and but yeah, I think there's a lot of importance about respecting a lot of older artists that have been around a long time, and a lot of the younger artists these days. If you say, who's this person, they're going to go, I don't know who that is. All they're really worried about is 15 minutes of fame on TikTok.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. I really 100%. Hope the industry doesn't head down that way.
I think it's going a full 180 because I know at my gigs, people are just wanting authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think what you do on your social media and when I've met you in person, they say you don't want to meet your heroes. Well, we're mates and we'll be mates for a long time, but it's nice when you meet people you respect and you walk away from that and you go, that guy is exactly like he is when he puts a Facebook post up.
For sure,
And that's what I want.
Yeah.
The younger people out there who are looking at this and they can take or leave whatever we say. We might be wrong, we might not be, but what we're trying to do for you is to let you know that if you're authentic from the way you post to the way you behave, then you'll have a better chance of success. I think that's the way to do it.
I totally agree. I think it's one of those things too. If you're a fake person, it's going to come and bite you in the butt at some stage, isn't it?
In any job.
In anything, in
and
life,
probably,
in
probably
general.
magnified in the music industry.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're on stage.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
So I'm interested to sort of know, I would have to say the last 2 years have been probably your most successful from an observer's perspective.
Yep.
It's so interesting to see your lineage and your heritage of music.
Yep.
Not dissimilar to mine. We did music that was so far away. And, and when I started playing electric guitar was when I first heard Keith Urban, because I went, if I'm going to play electric guitar, I don't want to be the shredder. I want to be a melody player. And I know Keith's a better guitarist than me, but he's not a shredding guitarist. He's a melody player.
Yep.
Every lead break he plays is well thought out. It's he's singing it with his instrument.
Yep.
And that's just my taste of guitar players.
For sure. He's one of the best.
He's one of the best.
One of the best.
Yeah. But what do you do when you look at like your songs, or when did you start to see, okay, now I'm starting to make a bit of momentum? Forget now, just look up Andy if you want to Google him. He's won a lot of things in the independent world, but he's also had a lot of hits across all of the mainstream and more predominantly commercially community-based radios. But that's the backbone of country music in Australia. Mate, you've got a few ones. You don't need to brag about it. They can look it up. But when did you start to notice, okay, because we all need affirmation. Yeah. Okay, now I'm on the right road. I feel like I'm making some roads.
It's taken a good. I got back into music probably 10 years ago. It's 10 years this year since.
Right. 28.
Yeah. So when I've got to do this because I didn't feel like myself. So I just started slogging it out for 10 years. I'm heading into my it's actually fifth studio album, because the first album I recorded, I put it onto a shelf, never released it.
Yep.
So this would be the fifth studio album that I'm heading into now. But I feel like it's kind of one of those things where, I couldn't live without it. I had to do it. I had to get back into it. I had to really work hard over the past 10 years to get to this point, and I'm still not quite there. I've worked really, really hard, but I think probably the last 2 years when I started to get momentum with this whole thing was after the Golden Guitar nomination. That really kind of
put you on the map.
Put me on the map. People really thought this guy's serious now, and not that I'm doing it. I do it for any of the awards or any of that stuff, but I think as well as heading to be able to go and play a show and sell it out, there's no feeling better than that.
It's amazing feeling.
That's when I thought, I kind of pinch myself going, people are coming to see my show.
And hear your story, your unique story.
Yeah, and in towns that I've never been to. A lot of towns that I've played at, I've sold out shows at, which I would never, ever, I don't know a soul in the town. So for me, that was when I was thinking, this is this is the real deal now.
Good on you, mate.
You know, that's when I've really started to think I'm heading in the right direction.
Because that is a slog. Now, I don't like touring per se. I just don't. I just miss my family too much. It's not for me.
Yeah.
However, I love going in, doing a kick-ass show and then getting the hell out of there.
Yep.
That's my vibe. But you have been on the road doing a lot of Ks.
Yep.
Just explain to people out there who are really interested in, because it's a wonderful thing as well. I'm not putting a negative light on it.
Yep.
It's freedom.
You can't buy that.
What is it like? What is it like? What's a week like in the week of Andy Penkow when he's on tour? What's it like? What happens on the Monday morning?
It's pretty hectic, you know. Like I'm often in the car on a Monday morning, traveling, either coming back to Sydney for a day or two, and then leaving again on Thursday. You know, I've done every single state, every single territory in Australia this year, except Tassie, which we're doing in December. I've done over 110 shows.
Wow.
I've performed in Canada, Nashville. I've recorded in Canada and Nashville as well, which was a huge eye-opener for me getting over there, because the caliber of artists in the States is just mind-blowing. Like, you know, off topic, but you walk down that strip in Nashville, you go into any bar, and there's these musicians that can play anything. They're just next level. It's insane. So to kind of be over there, kind of put your back a peg going, oh, geez, you know, maybe I'm not as good as what I thought I was.
No.
But just hanging out there was really, it was a lot of, it was fun, and I learned a lot about my craft and that kind of thing, which was great. And then I went to Canada for a while, and I learned a lot about my craft in Canada, and just understanding my vocals as well. Which was really important for me.
I heard that on the latest single, 100%.
Yeah.
First thing I heard.
Thanks. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where, as a singer, and you know this yourself, you can oversing. And I've always, you know, especially because I was trained as an opera singer. My grandparents wanted me to be an opera singer, so I went and did opera training.
Yeah.
And I always learned to oversing, which you do. You're a singer. So to be able to scale that back as a country artist is really hard. But once you get it, you get it. You know, it sounds easy, but it's pretty difficult.
100%.
You know, somebody who showed me that as well when I worked with Shane Nicholson.
Yeah.
You know, I recorded this EP, Chasing the Sun, with him, and he was like, "Dude, you're oversinging everything. You just need to like
take a chill.
Less.
Yeah.
Less every take. Less than that. Less than that." He's like, "Just talk it. Like, just talk it." You know, and that's where I started to understand a little bit more about my vocals.
Well, look what Paul Kelly does.
Yeah.
Like, he's a classic example of that.
For sure.
Like, if I ever cover his songs, I go, hang on, well, you don't sing it, just Paul Kelly it.
Yeah, just Paul Kelly.
You know, just do that kind of real...
Yeah.
And he's got the Australian accent in it. I heard Luke O'Shea do it in his latest album. It was one word he was saying, and I thought he's doing it with like an Australian mannerism as well. You know, I think that's what I'm doing this show for, because I'm really committed. As much as I love performing and I love doing... you know, making a living out of music.
Yeah.
I love hearing other people's stories, because I said to Maddie, who does these productions for us at Speedy Tech Media, I said, like, I find it more interesting listening to other people talk.
Yeah.
Because I know me.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like, I like to hear the story of the artist. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So what we might do, we might play your latest single, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just before we do, give the quick backstory, because we know it's about mental health, about reaching out to people who are going through a tough time.
Yeah.
Is it about giving them a light? What's the?
It's really about the song's really about understanding that there's always someone there that will be able to help.
Yeah.
You know, no matter where you are or what stage of your mental health disease you're sitting in.
Yeah.
And I think that there's never really like, it's more of a positive kind of light on it.
Yeah.
To go, you know, just reach out to someone if you can.
That's great. Exactly.
Yep.
That's lovely. Well, let's do it, mate. And I'll just do a shout out for these guitars again. This is what I call the Woody Pratley. It's a beautiful guitar that's manufactured by the third largest manufacturer in Australia of acoustic guitars. You've got Maton and Cole Clark, who are always fighting it out to be number one. But Pratley are in Queensland, and they're a beautiful guitar. So look them up, and Andy's going to play on the Woody Pratley.
I am.
All right, guys, Andy Penkow with Heavy on Me.
Gotta admit, I'm worried about you lately, my friend. Smile, say you're doing alright, but I can tell you ain't being yourself, and there you go again, closing down another Tuesday night. And I know you never asked for help, but I can see you going through hell. So put the heavy on me, whatever you need. I can carry the load when you got nowhere to go. Looking for answers, feeling scared and alone. So take a minute, just breathe. I got the weight, so put the heavy on me. Put the heavy on me. Put the heavy on me. Why pick a fancy build? It's starting to fade. Putting down rules, but are you digging deep enough? Stuck between hope and shame. She's thinking about her first, last name, until it comes to push and shove. Put the heavy on me, whatever you need. I can carry the load when you got nowhere to go. Looking for answers, feeling scared and alone. So take a minute, just breathe. I got the weight, so put the heavy on me. When your world's closing in, when you just need a friend, put the heavy on me. Whatever you need, I can carry the load when you got nowhere to go. Looking for answers, feeling scared and alone. So take a minute, just breathe. I got the weight, so put the heavy on me. Put the heavy on me. Put the heavy on me.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Great way to start the morning, mate. Thank you, man.
It's nice and early for me.
That's okay. It's lovely. It's got the country vibe, mate. That's beautiful.
It does have a country vibe to it. It's got a very natural vibe to it, which is great.
So how did that all come about, that song? Like, was that you going in? Like, let's talk about, because I'm still learning. I'm hearing some cats' names getting repeated, especially us Aussies. When they must go, I want to work with the Aussies. But how did it work for you? Like, how did that connection come? Because you had to spend a lot of money to get there. Expensive plane ticket.
It is expensive.
It's the unknown. So tell us the story with that.
So for me, I reached out to a bunch of people in Canada who I'd kind of known through other people, and they hooked me up with some songwriters in Canada, Doug Falkins and a guy called Sean Moore, who are phenomenal songwriters, like written for Dolly Parton and a whole bunch of great people. So we basically had a Zoom session, which was great. So we wrote all the songs on the album via Zoom before I got there. Wow. So everything was kind of like ready to rock.
Great idea.
So we had it all written. We spent hours and hours via Zoom, just kind of writing these songs. And I think it was an interesting process for me because I kind of sat back a little bit in the writing process. I went in with the ideas of the songs. Usually I would go in quite confident, I guess you could say, but because I didn't really know the process that they'd be doing, so I sat back a little bit in the first couple of writes, but we ended up writing like 20 songs, and we pulled out the best of them, and I feel like it was a great process. Just they're just cool cats, really cool cats. And I ended up writing with a whole bunch of different artists on this album. So every song's got at least 3 co-writes on it, which is really cool. And then we flew over to Nashville. We recorded one of the tracks in Nashville, All the Ways, which is one of my favorite little songs that I wrote. I think it's a cool little song. And then we went to Canada, and we're in the studio for 2 weeks just doing vocals. So the whole album was recorded live.
Right,
and it wasn't tracked. Like the process that I've done most of the time here is you'd go in, you'd lay the drums down, you'd lay your guitar down, you'd build it up. Here it was just a live recording all the way through. So it's very Nashville sounding. And these cats are just like...
Can play.
They're just insane. So that was really cool. So I flew over to do my vocals, and, I went in there and I thought I had enough confidence to go in and work with these guys. It was quite nerve-wracking, but got into the studio and laid the whole album down in about a week. We sat down, we listened to it, and my manager was there, Matt, and we're like, we need to redo it. So we spent another week in the studio. Like, I'm talking 15 hours a day. My voice was, and you know as well, my voice was gone by the end of it. And I was getting really frustrated at myself more than anything, but I'm so grateful that they kept pushing me and kept saying, no, we need to redo it. No, we need to redo it. So I think, for me, even for them, it had to be perfect. So
that's the level of like attention to detail that these guys in the States in Nashville do.
Yeah.
Whereas we go as the Aussie, well, mate, it's near enough, good enough.
Well, that's the thing too, and the style that I'd been doing over the last couple of years was like I'd started to write, because I've been traveling a lot. I started to write all these kind of traditional songs, which I love. Like, and I feel like there's some kind of real. I feel like there's some kind of home there, with these songs. So that for me is completely different to this real contemporary stuff that I'm doing in Nashville. Some people say, will your fans get confused or? But
it's an evolution.
I kind of feel like music's music,
If a good song is a good song, man.
For sure.
We've talked about Tool and Metallica.
100%.
Like, they're good songs.
Yeah,
great songs.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think ever, especially in a true artist, because I don't have a genre-specific album coming out in April.
Yeah.
It's very modern pop storytelling crossover country. That's the way But I'm like you as well, mate. If I keep copying everyone, I'm just the same as everyone else. You have to have your own
go
light.
down that road. Yeah.
And I think you get that as you get older and you start to like really hone in and you start to shape your sound. Like,
for sure.
I mean, like some bands like AC/DC, remember when you get Angus Young talking about it and he says it's a cake mix. We've got the right cake mix. Why would we change the cake mix?
For sure.
I get that.
For sure.
But for us otherwise, we were still trying to really find what we might not have it. It might take another 10 years till you really know your sound.
Yeah, you've got to.
But that's the journey.
You've got to find your own path. I find, even in with country radio, there's amazing artists out there. Especially in Australia, but a lot of it you kind of think it's very kind of similar. So I thought I don't want to be like that. I want to be me. I just want to. They may not like it, they may not accept it, but I'm just going to do me.
Well, take this away with you if you will. I remember reading an article on John Denver, and he was a maverick in the day.
Yeah, 100%.
No one knows.
Yeah, right.
Because when you listen to his record, you go, "That's so country." Like, because we've been absorbed. But when he was breaking through, he was a maverick, man.
Yeah.
He was doing things, and he was bringing country to the city.
Yeah,
that was his sort of brief. Like he'd take everything, all those stories of grandma's feather bed and whatnot, and he'd bring it into the cityscape and he'd play it in stadiums in the city. Yeah. And people go, "Oh, we love country now." It would become cool.
Yeah, true. True.
In the early days, the country artists in the States would just travel.
Yeah.
But they'd never come really to the big smoke.
Yeah.
That wasn't where their audience was.
There's no audience in the big smoke for country. Even nowadays, there's not a lot happening in the big cities, which is really sad, because most of the country artists live in the cities. So it's like, you've got to get out of here to get some work.
Exactly.
But I'm grateful because I've grown up. I do a lot of different styles, and I can go and do. I don't have to do a country show. Same with you. You can go and do.
That's right. You can pick your mark.
You can pick your. Yeah. And some country artists can't do that.
Yeah,
so I'm really grateful that I can.
Well, that's because, mate, my first gig was 16.
Yep.
First paid gig.
Yep.
And I'm 44, so there's a lot of years.
There's a lot of
When was your first paid gig?
Oh, jeez.
Because that's when you become professional, mind you.
It would have been
Doesn't
like
matter how good the gig was. You
14,
still got
something
paid.
like that. But it would have
14.
been, you get $100 for a talent quest. I don't know if that's like a paid gig, but yeah.
That's a paid gig, so if you're telling gigs. So mate, that's a lot of time at the crease.
It is, definitely, for sure.
Well, mate, we will sign off, not just now with the interview, we'll sign off now, but we'll let you do some promotion about your shows, your biggest one in Tamworth.
Yeah.
So before we go, let's just talk about that one, and then we'll sign off and you can do some more footage, some more like backstory just for your own sake as well. But
great.
thank you so much.
Mate, thanks so much for having
coming,
me. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you, and we'll do it again in 12 months.
100%.
Because I'll still be doing this.
Yeah.
We might have a different colour couch, but
go for a red couch next time.
Go for a red couch. Thanks, mate. I'll let you just do your introduction for your big Tamworth show.
Let's do it.
Tell them where they're going to go.
This is Andy Penkow. I've got a bunch of shows coming up, so watch out for me. We're heading to Tasmania in December, so jump on my website, andypenkow.com. We are heading to Tamworth too, which is really exciting. I'm playing the Capitol Theatre with my good mate TC Cassidy, who just got nominated for Golden Guitar, so congratulations to TC. Come and say g'day. Tickets are on sale now, and a huge thank you to Woody for having me.